When you think of California, what do you see? Maybe it's the traffic, the cities, the crowds. But if you own a four-wheel drive vehicle, you know the real California looks different. It's the most diverse overlanding playground on the planet, from the rain-soaked trails of the Redwood coast to the granite staircases of the High Sierra and the infinite silence of the Mojave Desert. But let's be real, California is intimidating. Where can you actually camp without a reservation? Which trails will destroy a stock vehicle and which are perfect for off-roading? How do you navigate the permits, the fire restrictions, and what about that bear problem you heard about in places like Lake Tahoe and Yosemite? And most importantly, how do you get away from the crowds to find that perfect solitary campsite? I'm Ben from Overland Trail Guides, and over the next 35 minutes, we're going to give you the keys to the kingdom. We're taking the Golden State and breaking it down into 6 distinct regions, highlighting the best overland routes in each region, the feel, and all of the information you need to explore California with confidence. And just so you know, every single overland route you see featured in this video comes with a comprehensive route guide, GPX files, and a whole lot of other information that you can find on our website, overlandtrailguides.com. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. That was the highlight reel, but let's be real for a second. California is complicated and it's absolutely huge. It has the most diverse terrain in the country. We've broken down this massive state into 6 distinct regions, highlighting the best overland routes in each area. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, we head to the Central Sierra, home to famed locations like Lake Tahoe and Yosemite National Park, along with iconic Jeep tracks like the infamous Rubicon Trail, and if you're looking to kick things up to maximum insanity, then check out the Fordyce Trail. For those not seeking hardcore wheeling, the region offers a wide range of overlanding and off-roading opportunities, like the La Sierra 4x4 Trail in the north, the Tahoe Backcountry Discovery Trail, and the gateway to the High Sierra, the El Dorado Backcountry Discovery Trail. If it's views of the High Sierra's snow-capped peaks and rocky Jeep trails that you're after, then head on over to the El Dorado Backcountry Discovery Trail. The El Dorado is filled with technical Jeep trails like Deer Valley, Forestdale Divide, Strawberry Pass, and Pardo's Trail. If you're lucky enough to explore the El Dorado BDT, you'll come across hundreds of incredible dispersed camping opportunities. Some of the more popular areas include Hope Valley, Blue Lakes, and the various lakes scattered around the Sunset and Tamarack Lakes Basin that can only be accessed via a network of rugged Jeep trails. And did we mention those views of the High Sierra? They ain't too shabby either. With its variety of moderately technical Jeep tracks, the El Dorado BDT isn't recommended for beginners. Many of the trails, like Pardo's Trail and Deer Valley, are best managed by vehicles with 33-inch tires or larger and rock sliders. The rocky Jeep tracks of the El Dorado BDT aren't your thing, then consider heading up to the Tahoe BDT just to the north. Like the El Dorado, the Tahoe BDT offers numerous opportunities for lakeside camping, but with a lot less rocks and bumps along the way. A stock 4Runner or Jeep Wrangler should manage the Tahoe BDT just fine. Just remember, you're in the heart of the Central Sierra and it gets busy up here during the warm season. If it's a lakefront campsite that you're after, this typically means heading up to the Sierra midweek, but every so often, the stars and planets align and the perfect lakeside camp is still available on a Friday afternoon. With such a vast expanse of landscapes and varied terrain, it can be challenging to select a favorite overland route in California. But there's a place within the Northern Sierra, simply known as the La Sierra, that is easily one of our favorite places to explore. While crowds have long flocked to Lake Tahoe, it was only recently they discovered the rugged and untamed beauty of the La Sierra. If you've got a stock 4x4, there's plenty of exploring you can do, but to manage some of the rockier trails in the area, 33-inch tires and a 1 to 2 inch lift will allow you to go a lot further. And why do they refer to it as the La Sierra? For decades, this stunning region remained overlooked and largely forgotten, sandwiched between the tourist mecca of Lake Tahoe to the south and the volcanic landscapes of Lassen to the north. Most travelers simply passed it by on their way to the more famous destinations. The name stuck as a badge of honor for an area that retained its wild character precisely because it stayed off the beaten path. The mining districts within the La Sierra proved to be some of the richest and most productive in the California gold rush. Today, you can visit many of these historic locations like the Mohawk Stamp Mill and Museum at Plumas Eureka State Park, the old mining town of LaPorte, Poker Flat, and the Howland Flat Ghost Town, and various other diggings and abandoned mines scattered throughout the region's 4x4 trails. And speaking of 4x4 trails and dirt roads, the La Sierra has plenty of them, from mellow dirt roads to more technical Jeep tracks like Snake Lake. Call us biased, but we think the La Sierra offers some of the best camping across the entire Sierra Nevada. The region seems to have an abundance of ridgetop camps with sweeping views of granite basins, lakeside campsites, and even spots tucked into old mine diggings. But the La Sierra has been discovered, so if you're after a prime campsite, your best bet is heading out during the week or making reservations at one of the many scenic lakeside campgrounds. Even if the La Sierra had no pioneer mining history, it would still be worth the journey. Dozens of alpine lakes and meadows dotted with wildflowers give way to granite peaks, but it's the majestic Sierra Buttes, towering nearly 9,000 feet above sea level, that are the crown jewel of the La Sierra, drawing mountain lovers back year after year. Next up, we head to California's wild and rugged north coast. The region is home to a number of iconic routes like the Steelhead Adventure Trail, the Redwood Coast Adventure Trail, the Lost Coast 4x4 Trail, and the Mendocino Backcountry Discovery Trail. Along the far north coast of California, you'll find some of the largest and tallest trees on Earth. If you're looking to explore the redwoods on foot or in your vehicle, the Redwood Coast Adventure Trail, also known as the Red Cat, is the way to go. The Red Cat travels through some of the most impressive old-growth forests within Redwood National and State Parks and Humboldt Redwoods further to the south. Outside of the Smith River National Recreation Area, dispersed camping opportunities are limited, so you'll need to make camping reservations and plan accordingly. As you make your way south, keep an eye out for the massive statues of Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox, which mark the location of Trees of Mystery. If you've ever wanted to explore the Redwood Canopy, check out their series of rope bridges known as the Redwood Canopy Trail. If you've ever had the opportunity to walk among the ancient redwood forests, then you know there's something uniquely spiritual about this place. And while the redwoods are the crown jewel of California's north coast, the region is home to numerous wild and scenic rivers, whose salmon runs once rivaled those in Alaska before the fisheries were depleted. There's one river that stands out among the rest, the undammed Smith, renowned for its emerald clear waters that are reputed to be among the cleanest in the nation. Recognizing the watershed's singular ecological and scenic value, Congress officially designated the Smith River National Recreation Area in 1990. The western mountains of the Smith River NRA are among the wettest in California, with rainfall regularly eclipsing 100 inches during wet years. However, it's the geology of the Siskiyou Mountains that makes this region truly otherworldly. The striking green and red hues of the Serpentine and Peridotite peaks create an alien landscape unlike anywhere else in the state. If you're intent on exploring the Smith's incredible scenery, there's no better way to do it than the Steelhead Adventure Trail. While kayakers and anglers frequent the river's rugged canyons, the surrounding mountains remain largely devoid of visitors. For those seeking expansive views and solitude, the best strategy is to hit the dirt and head into the high country. One of our favorite places to visit along the North Coast is Prairie Creek Redwood State Park, and more specifically Gold Bluffs Beach. As you may have guessed, these beachfront sites are in high demand, which is why we often prefer to visit in the off-season when the crowds are away. California is the only state where you'll find 3 subspecies of elk, including the Roosevelt elk, that calls the North Coast home. As we head south, we encounter a geological wonder, the Lost Coast, where the mountains rise straight out of the mighty Pacific. The region earned its name when engineers constructing Highway 1 decided to bypass this 90-mile stretch of coastline due to its incredibly rugged terrain. The subsequent depopulation of local communities gave rise to the moniker, the Lost Coast. Famed for its wild beaches, rugged mountains, and abundant marine life, the region draws overlanders eager to experience one of the state's most scenic overland routes, the Lost Coast 4x4 Trail. When it comes to off-roading, there aren't many places along the entire west coast where one can drive the dirt roads and trails along the bluffs and mountain slopes overlooking the frigid Pacific. But the Lost Coast offers exactly that opportunity. And best of all, the entire trail network can be easily managed by a stock 4x4. When it comes to camping, you'll need to stick to one of the designated campgrounds managed by BLM, state parks, or Humboldt County, as dispersed camping isn't permitted here. Usel Beach Campground provides a primitive camping experience that feels more like dispersed camping and is one of the few places in the state that you can camp right next to the beach. When you call one of the most remote stretches of coastline in the lower 48 home, you're part of a different breed. The folks out here embody a fascinating contradiction. They'll pull themselves up by their bootstraps one minute, then share their homegrown tomatoes with you the next. Many descend from the old-timers who flocked here during the back-to-land movement of the 1960s and 70s, and their kids keep the counterculture spirit alive with a unique blend of hippie idealism and rural grit. It's a place where tie-dye meets the Second Amendment, bound together by fierce self-reliance. From the Lost Coast, we head inland to the coast ranges of the Mendocino National Forest. About 3 hours north of San Francisco, the Wild West's most infamous stagecoach robber, Black Bart, once roamed these mountains. With over 1,000 miles of dirt roads and trails to explore, the Mendocino National Forest is an overlander's paradise. Here, you'll find the headwaters of the Eel River, Lake Pillsbury, and high peaks like Hole Mountain and Anthony Peak to the north. The Forest Service and California State Parks OHV division must have recognized something special in these oak-studded rolling hills that rise into mountains, because way back in 1996, through a joint partnership, they established the very first segment of the California Backcountry Discovery Trail right through the Mendocino National Forest. In the camping situation, it can get busy around the Pillsbury Basin and the Eel River during the warm months, but there's an easy fix for that. Head to the mountains where thousands of dispersed campsites await. Consider the forest your blank canvas. Whether you want to swim in the cool waters of the Eel River, hike its verdant rolling hills, or drive the ridgetop jeep trails with views stretching from the Pacific to Mount Lassen, the Mendocino National Forest delivers. Next up, we head to the Southern California deserts, which include the Mojave Desert, the Sonoran Desert, and even a small slice of the Great Basin Desert up north. When it's dumping snow in the mountains, it becomes desert season. This region is home to renowned overland tracks like the Death Valley Adventure Route, the famed Mojave Road, the Joshua Tree Adventure Route, and the Anza-Borrego Discovery Trail. Death Valley and the surrounding desert were forged by millions of years of tectonic upheaval, flowing water, and relentless wind. What was once a remote haven for those seeking solitude has become one of the most visited national parks in America, and for good reason. The scenery is absolutely spectacular, and there's no shortage of places worth exploring. Whether you're a desert rat tracking down abandoned mines and ghost towns, a geology enthusiast captivated by the park's dramatic landscapes, or part of the free-spirited community soaking in the hot springs at Saline Valley, Death Valley has something that speaks to everyone. It's the kind of place that makes you feel small in the best way possible. With Death Valley's surge in popularity, many once wild camping spots like Hole in the Wall and Cottonwood Canyon now have designated sites that require reservations. If you're planning a trip, make sure you check the current regulations and book your campsite ahead of time. At over 3 million acres, Death Valley is the largest national park in the lower 48, and there are still plenty of incredible places where you can disperse camp without a reservation. Call us biased, but we think the Death Valley Adventure Route is hands down the best way to experience the park. This overland route takes you through a patchwork of dirt roads and trails, including moderately technical jeep tracks that connects you with some of the area's most stunning geological features: Titus Canyon's narrow walls, the towering Eureka Dunes, the natural hot springs at Saline Valley, the massive Ubi-Hibi crater, and the historic Cerro Gordo ghost town, just to name a few. Speaking of those jeep trails, if you plan to explore some of the park's more rugged trails like Steel Pass, Goler Wash, or Echo Canyon, a 4x4 with 33-inch tires and high clearance is recommended, and rock sliders certainly don't hurt either. Just east of Greater San Diego lies California's largest state park. At 650,000 acres and over 500 miles of dirt roads and trails, Anza-Borrego is a desert wonderland waiting to be explored. Sitting squarely in the Sonoran Desert, the flora here is distinctly different from spots like Death Valley and the Mojave Preserve. You won't find massive mountains scraping the sky, but what you will find are twisting sandstone slot canyons, sandy desert washes, and otherworldly badlands that'll have you wondering if you accidentally drove to Mars. The vast majority of trails within Anza-Borrego can be managed by a stock 4x4, with a couple of moderately technical options for those looking to test their rig. And here's the best part. Unlike Death Valley, there's no scrambling for campsite reservations. Dispersed camping is permitted throughout most of the park. Just pick your spot and post up for the night. So what should you check out during your visit? This isn't an exhaustive list by any means, but some of our favorites include the Mud Caves, Fish Wash, Fawn's Point and the surrounding Badlands, Sandstone Canyon, the Mud Palisades, and the metal sculptures at Goleta Meadows. With its amazing dispersed camping opportunities, diverse terrain, and no reservations required just a few hours from San Diego, it's time to head to Anza-Borrego. Named after its iconic twisted trees, Joshua Tree National Park sits at the confluence of the Sonoran and Mojave deserts. This is a hiker's paradise, and to really experience the park, you need to wander through the granite boulder piles and twisted Joshua Tree forests on foot. But if you want to explore with a vehicle, there's no better way than the Joshua Tree Adventure Route. Inside the park, off-roading is limited to spots like Geology Tour Road, but just beyond the boundaries, you'll find a network of rocky jeep trails winding through canyons and old mining districts. Purdue and Pinkham Canyons offer moderately technical options through canyons and rocky desert washes. Once you're ready to kick it up a notch, head to the rock-strewn trails of the Old Dale Mining District, just beyond the park's northeast border. The park also hides several palm oases in its canyons, Cottonwood Spring and 49 Palms among them, where California fan palms create unexpected pockets of shade in the middle of the desert. If you're into desert mining history, head to Old Dale Mining District. It's a sprawl of abandoned mines and rocky jeep tracks where you can poke around rusted relics from the early 1900s. The Old Dale Mining District sits just outside the park boundary, and that's where you'll find the best dispersed camping in the area. Speaking of which, if you plan to camp within Joshua Tree National Park, you'll need to make reservations at one of its busy campgrounds. And just to give you an idea of what's in store in this corner of the desert, check out these rocky trails. I think it's safe to say that if you plan on exploring the Old Dale Mining District, a full-size spare is necessary, unless you're prepared to walk out on foot. Just north of Joshua Tree sits another one of California's iconic desert parks, the Mojave National Preserve, home to one of North America's best-known overland routes, the 140-mile Mojave Road. But let me clue you into a dirty little secret. If it's solitude and some of the Mojave's hidden gems that you're after, check out the 740-mile East Mojave Heritage Trail instead. Routes cross the preserve. Whether you're planning to drive the Mojave Road or East Mojave Heritage Trail, a stock 4x4 with proper tires will suit your explorations just fine. And the camping situation in the Mojave Preserve, unless signage indicates otherwise, set up camp wherever your heart desires. Like many locations in the desert, the Mojave Preserve is littered with mining relics, head frames, shafts, and dozens of old mining cabins that you can actually stay in. Within the stark beauty of the cinder cone fields, be sure to check out the Aiken Cinder Mine, where you can drive right through the abandoned pumice operations that once supplied material for asphalt and pavement. And what else can you find in this corner of the desert? The infamous Mojave lava tube that you can actually climb down into, the Rings Trail at Hole in the Wall, and the quirky landmarks like the Frog Monument and Mojave Mailbox. And if you make it to Goff Schoolhouse, you'll find a whole outdoor museum of relocated desert relics, including the legendary bullet-riddled Mojave Road school bus. For those seeking peace and solitude, the Mojave National Preserve offers a vast landscape of opportunities to find both. Next up, we head to the Eastern and Southern Sierra. Here you'll find locations like Mammoth Lakes, Sequoia National Park, and Kings Canyon National Park. While the region is incredibly popular for outdoor recreation, four-wheeling, and dispersed camping, the rugged terrain makes it challenging to connect longer overland routes. Notable routes in the region include the Mammoth Loop, which is set to release in 2026, and the Eastern Sierra Traverse, a rugged route that features some of the best views of the Eastern Sierra crest. John Muir referred to the Sierra Nevada as the Range of Light, and once said the coniferous forests of the Sierra are the grandest and most beautiful in the world. And for those chasing the High Sierra's sublime alpine views, there's no better route than the Eastern Sierra Traverse. And the appropriate rig for the trails of the Eastern Sierra? You'll need a high clearance 4x4 with 33-inch tires, and rock sliders wouldn't be a bad idea either. While the views are impressive, the Eastern Sierra Traverse isn't a suitable route for novices with its numerous moderately technical trails. But those who don't shy away from such challenges along the trail will be rewarded in spades with incredible alpine scenery. While the Eastern Sierra doesn't hold the same number of lakes and rivers as the western slope of the Central Sierra, what it lacks in water, it compensates for with towering granite peaks and spires, many cresting 13,000 feet and a select few achieving the coveted 14,000 foot mark. The insanely rugged topography paired with numerous wilderness areas makes it difficult to string together long-distance overland routes across the Eastern Sierra. Many trails climb to ridge tops only to dead end, forcing out and back runs rather than through routes. But this same ruggedness delivers a rare payoff. The Eastern Sierra offers multiple opportunities to get your rig above 10,000 feet, something that's definitely a rarity when exploring the Central Sierra. You'll feel like you're knocking on heaven's door up there. Just remember that high elevation comes with a toll. Be mindful of the thin air, especially if you like to enjoy a few libations around the campfire. What feels like 2 beers at sea level hits very differently at 10,000 feet. So what's the camping situation like in the Eastern Sierra? Well, when closer to the Owens Valley, especially population centers like Bishop or Lone Pine, you can expect the best sites to get snagged on the weekend. And once you head into the high country, the mountains are filled with hundreds of incredible campsites. Even with the rocky jeep tracks that surround Coyote Flat, popular locations like Funnel Lake can still get busy on the weekend. And while not technically part of the Eastern Sierra, the White Mountains are the High Sierra's most impressive neighbor. Part of the Basin and Range Province, the White Mountains may lack the dramatic granite spires of the High Sierra, but they still manage to top out above 14,000 feet. The White Mountains also hold some hidden gems, like Mazorca Peak, Papoose Flats, and the ancient bristlecone forest that dot the range's higher elevations. At the end of the day, if it's majestic and craggy mountain peaks that you're after, there's no better place to explore than the Eastern Sierra. Our next stop takes us to one of California's most remote corners, the Southern Cascades and Klamath Mountains in far northern California. While Lassen Volcanic National Park sees a decent amount of summertime visitors, many locations in this region see a fraction of the traffic compared to locations like the Central and Eastern Sierra. But don't let that dissuade you. This region is wild and incredibly beautiful and full of places to explore. Some of the better-known overland routes in this area include the Shasta Trinity Backcountry Discovery Trail, the Modoc BDT, and the Lassen BDT. After Mount Rainier, Mount Shasta is the highest volcanic peak in the Cascades, and its presence dominates Northern California's landscape. While you may not be able to drive to its summit, there are plenty of other locations to explore in California's wild northeast corner. One of the best ways to explore the varied landscapes of this region is via the Shasta Trinity Backcountry Discovery Trail. This 250-mile overland route connects the Coast Ranges in the west, meanders around the Trinity Alps, and eventually concludes along the northern flank of Mount Shasta. And if it's waterfront campsites that you're after, the Shasta Trinity offers some fantastic dispersed camping opportunities at locations like the East Fork of the Trinity, Ruth Lake, Gumboot Lake, and our favorite, Tamarack Lake. The Shasta Trinity BDT is a soft roader's paradise. A stock 4x4 will get you far out here. There's only one short stretch of rocky trail on the short out and back to Tamarack Lake, but pick your line carefully and you'll be just fine. While the Sierra Nevada and Southern Cascades seem to get all of the fanfare, don't sleep on the Klamath Mountains. The Klamath-Siskiyou ecoregion has been called the wildest place on the West Coast. The region is renowned for its ecological diversity and numerous endemic species that call these mountains home. It's also home to the greatest concentration of wild and scenic rivers outside of Alaska. So whether you're after incredible alpine views, emerald green forests, lakeside campsites, or chasing the elusive energy of Mount Shasta, the Shasta Trinity Backcountry Discovery Trail absolutely delivers. The Lassen National Forest marks the terminus of the Southern Cascades. It's also been called the Land of Ishi, named for Ishi, who emerged from the wilderness in 1911 as the last Native American living in complete isolation from the modern world. But it's the frontiersman, Peter Lassen, whose name seems to be everywhere in this corner of the state. Lassen National Forest, Lassen Peak, Lassen Volcanic National Park, and the Lassen Trail. Peter Lassen guided immigrants along a branch of the California Trail that would bear his name. The Lassen Trail split off at Goose Lake in northeastern California, leading south into the fertile Sacramento Valley. The mountains of the Lassen National Forest are dominated by the volcanic features of the Southern Cascades, and the best way to explore this region is the Lassen Backcountry Discovery Trail, which acts as a connector with the Plumas BDT to the south and the Modoc BDT to the north. And while the route doesn't drive through Lassen National Park, it's just a short drive off the track to one of Northern California's hidden gems. Lassen National Park sees a mere fraction of the visitation compared to more popular parks like Yosemite and Kings Canyon, but it's a geothermal wonderland that will leave both kids and adults amazed. And while Lassen Peak is certainly the star, volcanic features like Black Rock, the remnants of a giant plug dome volcano, Broke-Off Mountain, Bernie Mountain, and the Cinder Cone Fields are all impressive in their own right. So if you're ready to head to the land of Ishi and Peter Lassen, a stock 4x4 will work just fine, as the majority of the Lassen BDT qualifies as soft roading. As for camping, there's plenty of great dispersed sites within the National Forest as well. Just keep in mind, if you're planning to stay within Lassen National Park, you'll want to make reservations at one of its many campgrounds, as dispersed camping is not permitted within the park. Our final stop takes us to the Central Coast. Here we find well-known locations like Monterey, Big Sur, and Santa Barbara. Connecting overland routes can be a bit tricky in this region, but if you know where to look, you might just strike overland gold. Some of the overland routes in this area include the New Idria Adventure Route, the Big Sur Adventure Route, and the Coastal Carrizo Adventure Trail. We kick things off along the California Riviera, better known as the Santa Barbara Coast. Just beyond town, the Santa Ynez Mountains climb towards the clouds, providing impressive views up and down the coast. And the best way to explore this incredibly scenic region? The Coastal Carrizo Adventure Trail. This 280-mile overland route stretches from Santa Barbara to the remote Carrizo Plain, winding through the pastoral ranches of the Santa Ynez Valley, climbing into the rugged Santa Ynez Mountains, and descending into the stark, windswept grasslands of the Carrizo Plain National Monument. If it's stunning vistas that you're after, the Coastal Carrizo Adventure Trail is sure to impress. So what's an appropriate vehicle for this adventure? Well, you can expect some bumps and a few rocks along the way in various locations throughout the route, but nothing the stock 4x4 can't easily manage. When it comes to camping along this route, you'll need to be a bit more mindful of the dispersed camping situation, as the route does pass through some prolonged segments of private property. However, when you're within the Los Padres National Forest, dispersed camping is generally permitted unless signage indicates otherwise. When it comes to the Carrizo Plain National Monument, there are 2 first-come, first-served campgrounds and hundreds of options for dispersed camping. Just be sure to read up on the regs of where dispersed camping is permitted, as it's generally only allowed within the hills that surround the valley floor. The far eastern end of the route traverses the windswept grasslands of the Carrizo Plain National Monument. During years of heavy rainfall, the plain transforms into a wildflower wonderland each spring. The valley and hills explode with vibrant yellows, oranges, and purples. It's quite the sight to behold if you can time your trip accordingly. Our last stop takes us north to Monterey County and the New Idria Adventure Route. a 150-mile overland route that begins in the Salinas Valley and meanders through the hills and mountains of the Coast Ranges before ending near Coalinga in the San Joaquin Valley. As you travel through the backcountry of Monterey and San Benito counties, you'll feel like you've stepped back in time. The rolling green hills and weathered ranches evoke the California of 150 years ago, and California has raised cattle across these same grasslands. Old ranch houses and barns dot the landscape throughout the route, remnants of a slower, simpler era. As you make your way east through Clear Creek and the San Benito Mountains, you'll pass through the hills that once housed the world's largest asbestos mine. Just to the east lies the New Idria ghost town, where several weathered buildings still stand. Exploration is limited to the county road passing through, as the property remains private. Stock 4x4 is more than suitable for this route, but when it comes to camping, we recommend checking out the route guide on Overland Trail Guides for all the detailed info. We hope you enjoyed the Overlander's Guide to California. Till next time, stay wild and wander far.